Hi, everyone. Gerry Dulac along with Ray Fittipaldo. We're at Steelers training camp in Latrobe as it winds down. Our Steeler wrap up brought to you by Savinas, Kane, and Gallucci, mesothelioma, and asbestos lawyers with over 85 years of experience. Call them now for a free consultation. Ray, we're getting near the end. One more practice actually here at Latrobe. They're off, players off tomorrow. They'll be back on the field Wednesday morning, 10:30 a.m., and then that's it. 3.5 weeks or however long it's been
Yep.
that we've been here. They'll scrimmage the Buffalo Bills on Thursday at Acrisure Stadium. That's close to the public. And then, of course, their second preseason game. And so here they are. The offense, first team offense, did not look great the other day. But, that's okay. They're not too worried about that. But 3 series from Justin Fields, no points. He actually didn't look too bad. And one thing I saw in that game, too, they used a lot of different receivers, and they had some long gains, a lot of those from Kyle Allen.
They did. They had 8 plays of 15 yards or more, Jerry. Five of those were for 20 yards or more. Two to Calvin Austin. I know Scotty Miller had another one. I know George
Yeah, the
Pickens
long one. Yeah.
had a 15-yard gain. So they were pushing the ball down the field, and that's kind of been a focus. If you've come out here and watched the Steelers practice at St. Vincent, Arthur Smith wants his quarterbacks to be aggressive, and sometimes it'll end up in tips or maybe even interceptions, but he wants to instill that confidence that you can throw the ball down the field and make plays. And we saw that on Friday night against the Texans.
Yeah, and we had a chance to talk to him today, and he said this earlier in camp that they didn't want Justin Fields just checking down. They want to see what he has. They've encouraged him to attack and throw the ball down the field, and because that's how they want to evaluate him. And again, he said it. He reiterated some of that today, and we had a chance to talk to him and just some different things he felt about the offense. Cordarrelle Patterson uh, uh, on the field today. We talked to him yesterday. He was back in uniform, but he was actually involved both at running back and wide receiver, which is what he does.
Yeah, the first play of 7 shots to open up practice, Jerry lined up a receiver, kind of took an end around and scored. So the offense actually won 7 shots today, 5-2. So Patterson was all involved in that. He also had a carry. He was stopped short. He also had some carries during the team period. So he's going to be on this roster, Jerry. They paid him a $2 million signing bonus. He's going to be the kick returner. Now they got to figure out, okay, we have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. How do we want to infuse Cordarrelle Patterson into the mix? Arthur Smith will figure it out, but it's not an easy task. You want Warren touching the ball as much as he can, and also Harris hasn't done anything this camp to have his snaps or his touches decreased either. So it's going to be tough for Smith to work him in there, I think, but that's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah, and I don't know that he'll get worked in there much at all. They brought him in one particular reason, and that's to return kicks.
Yeah,
As soon as the new kickoff rule was passed, they didn't waste any time. They
yeah,
brought him in. I'd be surprised if he touches the ball more than twice a game. I don't
yeah,
think he will unless there's an injury. The Steelers almost split the snaps between Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. It's 1 and 1A,
yeah.
and that's going to continue. So I don't even know that we'll see him in that role. But nonetheless, I think it's a good addition for them. Just gives them another weapon. He's a Pro Bowl kick returner, and with these new rules, we'll see how he fits in.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Jerry, but that new kickoff rule wasn't very exciting. I guess around
No.
the league, there were a few longer returns, so maybe other teams are having more success. The one thing Arthur Smith did say about his receivers, he was asked in a roundabout way about the Brandon Ayuk situation, and he basically said, I coach who's here. But he has been very impressed with guys like Calvin Austin, um, Van Jefferson, even Quez Watkins. He acknowledged Quez Watkins had a rough game returning punts, but you've seen him out there the last 2 days, Jerry. He's making plays as a receiver. So, it's nice to have that versatility on the back end of your roster where you could do stuff on special teams, but maybe Quez Watkins can still make it as your fifth receiver as well.
Ray, I think he will. You're right. I mean, he had a tough day tough night the other night, fielding punts. Three of them. Bad awareness, bad judgment.
Yep.
But man, the last 2 days, other than George Pickens, he is the most noticeable
Yep.
receiver on the field, and you see his ability to run after he catches the ball, and he's made some good catches as well. They went out and signed him in free agency. I expect him to make the team. We'll see. But
Yeah.
what we've seen the last 2 days, to me, cements his position on this team.
Yeah, very much a positive for him to bounce back in the last two practices after that happened. I'm sure the coaches see that. He's a pro. I mean, he's been around. This is his fifth season in the NFL. Had a lot of early success with the Eagles, dealt with some injuries the last couple of years. He's trying to bounce back this year with the Steelers.
And uh, Ray, we're seeing a little bit more of Russell Wilson each day. but still Justin Fields is taking the majority of the snaps and the majority of the snaps with the first team.
Yeah. And Mike Tomlin was asked after practice today, does he plan to start Russell Wilson? He said he hasn't decided yet. And, the reps in today's practice, Jerry, were kind of like Sunday. They were kind of split evenly. So it seems like Justin Fields is maybe on track to start again. I guess we'll have to wait, until Thursday to join practice. I think that'll be a good indicator. If not, then we'll have to wait till Saturday night to see if Wilson's going to make his debut. We keep being told it's not serious, but we're now 3.5 weeks into it, and he's still not in the same spot, but he's not a full go participant yet. And I'm sure that's going to be a little bit worrisome for the people inside that building.
Yeah, to a degree. I'm not even sure it's about the injury. I'm just curious if it's they just like Justin Fields so much, and we watch him whether 7-on-7 or in team. Man, he's very impressive throwing the ball. It's hard not to be impressed with some of the strikes this guy throws. Now we'll see what happens in a game. We'll see how he's developed. Can he go back, process what he's looking at, and then make decisions? Has been his problem in Chicago. But what we have seen in camp, in practice, he looks really good.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith said that today. He's been impressed with his development. I know you were here the first week, Jerry. A little bit uneven.
Right.
It wasn't. He had some good days and some bad days, some good periods and some bad periods. But now you're seeing that consistency. And if you're an offensive coordinator or you're a head coach of a football team, that's what you want out of your quarterback. You want to know what he's going to do from game to game and week to week. And we've seen more consistency out of Justin Fields here in the last 2 weeks for sure.
One significant development already, if you read postgazette.com, I had the story about Troy Fautanu. They are going to move him, Ray, into the starting lineup, and they are going to leave him there. Now, he won't play in these next two preseason games because of his knee injury, but they really like this guy, and he's going to be their starting right tackle. They feel he's already their second best lineman on the team, which is saying a lot in his progress. It's not so much his progress. Yes, that's been remarkable, but he's a remarkable talent.
He is number 20 overall pick in the draft, and it's interesting. Broderick Jones last year was the number 14 pick, and he kind of took some more time to develop. But we keep mentioning it. Troy Fautanu was 24 years old. He was built to be a Steeler. I think the physicality, just the mentality that he has. If you've listened to the coaches talk about him the last couple of days, he didn't even tell them he was injured until halftime. Arthur Smith mentioned that he asked for a knee brace. That's the only way they knew he was injured. So they love that mentality about him. And yeah, being out for 2 weeks is going to hurt him, but I don't think it's going to hurt him in the long term. He's this team's future at right tackle.
They're going to have Broderick Jones and Dan Moore battle it out at left tackle to see who's going to be the starter. And Ray, I think we know how that's going to end up because they're not going to put Broderick Jones back on the bench after he started 11 games at right tackle. That's going to do it for today's wrap up for Ray Fittipaldo. Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Gerry Dulac. You're watching PostGazette.com.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.